There we go. What's up, family? Grand Rising and happy Thursday. Welcome to 1% Talks. Again, I am your host, Nano Torres, and I'm here to give you guys another great episode of an interview where I'm going to interview the top entrepreneurs, business owners, influencers, and top athletes from all around the world. And today we have a very special guest, and I'm going to be bringing her up here in a couple of minutes. I just want to let the room get filled up. Make sure that you guys are spreading the word. Let everybody know, because today's special guest is going to be special, guys. You don't want to miss this one. I'm super excited for this one. For today, we have my sister, Mina Moves, hopping on today's call, one of the top influencers and leaders of our era. And I'm just super excited for this call, guys. I'm very excited, and I'm looking forward to it. So let's make sure we spread the word in all group chats, all telegrams, all discords. Send it to a friend, send it to a family member, because today you're really going to be able to get a chance to learn from somebody who is extremely successful at what it is that they do. I'm very blessed and grateful. Hey, come here. Sorry, guys, somebody's at the house, and if I don't hold her right now, she's going to start barking. So let me just have her hang out here. But, I'm super excited. I'm super blessed, to be on this call with all of you guys. Take this time real quick to spread the word to all your group chats, the telegrams, the discords. Trust me, guys, this one is going to be a life changer. And by the way, this is my little beautiful puppy, Hazel. She's the best. I love her so much. She keeps me just so humble. She keeps me happy. She holds space for me when I'm working and everything. So I'm just very excited for it. But guys, 1% Talks has been absolutely incredible. The amount of impact, the messages that I've gotten, the testimonials of people who have been, gaining just so much wisdom from what it is that we have going on here has been absolutely incredible. Just the fact that we're able to pick these individuals' minds and be able to dive deep into how it is that they've been able to accomplish the success that they have, and the mindset that it takes to become a part of the 1% is an absolute blessing. But before we get into anything, guys, I love to express gratitude. So real quick, if everybody can just share what's one thing that you're grateful for this morning. Put it in the chat box for me. What is one thing that you are grateful for this morning? Type it in the chat box. I am grateful for God. I am grateful for my health. I am grateful for my mind, my body, and my spirit. I'm grateful for my family, my mom, my dad, my little brother, my goddaughters, and my godson. I'm extremely grateful for my team and all the leaders within my organization. I'm grateful for my girlfriend, Katie. I'm grateful for my beautiful puppy, Hazel. I'm grateful for my sister, Mina, taking the time to, allow me to interview her today. I'm grateful for my breath. I'm grateful for, the amazing life that I live today. And I'm just extremely blessed and extremely grateful, to be able to wake up on this beautiful day and be able to share some value with you guys. So thank you guys all so much for hopping on. Enough of the small talk. Let's get on this call and let's talk about, who it is that I'm about to interview. So just a quick backstory about who it is that I'm going to be interviewing today. This is my sister, Mina. Me and Mina have been friends now for close to 3 years. I would say about 3 years now. And, it's funny because the way we met was very odd, right? We met because we were a part of different platforms. We were a part of different companies. And I was mentoring her and her team and the whole nine. And we just happened to, really hit it off very early on. The way that we thought, our mindset, everything that, that the way that we processed information was a lot different than everybody. And we realized that we were, a part of the 1% very early on. And she simply told me, she said, bro, I'm here to ride. Let's work. Let's collaborate. Let's do things together. And ever since, she's literally been a sister to me. She's somebody that I've traveled the world with. We've been able to impact hundreds and thousands of people worldwide with our collaboration. And right now, I've had the pleasure of watching her grow as an entrepreneur the last 3 years. And it's just so beautiful to watch her grow, because not only has she grown as an entrepreneur, but she's grown as a mother. She's grown as a sister to me, as a wife, as a leader in her organization. She's a top educator for social media within our platform. She's on her way to make multiple multiple seven figures in entrepreneurship this year, and she is here on this call today. She is definitely the example of a one percenter, and I'm super excited for her. So if you guys are excited to hear and learn from my sister Mina, type some fire emojis in the chat box right now, because I cannot wait to interview her. I have a couple of questions that I wanted to ask her, and this is somebody that I'm very excited for. So let me accept her here, and there she is. What's up?
Hey,
How are you, fam?
I am doing so good. How are you, fam?
Les, welcome to 1% Talks, man. Long overdue, huh?
I'm excited. I told you I was feeling low-key salty that I wasn't on the one percenters. This is not okay.
It was so funny when you told me that yesterday. You were like, bro, I was feeling some type of way that I hadn't not got the invite yet, so I had to.
Those for me to not tell you how I really feel.
No, it really is a pleasure to have you. Every time we come together, we make an impact. So I hope that everybody is ready for this interview. I hope everybody is ready to receive here today. How was your morning so far?
So far, so good. It's funny that you just asked. A lot of people have been asking me what this journal is. I've been using this journal for like the last, and this is like by no means a collaboration. I paid full price for it, but it's the 5-minute journal. And I love it so much because you know how we're always talking about a morning routine.
Yep.
Nobody talks about a nighttime routine. And I think it's so important. Like imagine you driving your car, your body's your car, and you're going at 1,000 miles per hour, and then you just plop on your bed and try to go to sleep. That's why people can't fall asleep, because it's like hitting an e-brake in a car. So the same way you wind up, you got to wind down, right? And this little journal gives you what to do in the morning and also what to do at nighttime. And it takes like 5 minutes. I got my journaling down. I got my Celsius going. I am ready for this interview.
Yes, man. I'm so blessed. And I'm glad that you mentioned that the night routine is so key. Because like you said, a lot of people have routines, but very few have night routines. But, you know, I want to welcome you to 1% Talks, because, you know, I started this a couple of weeks ago, and it's become a big thing. Everybody loves it. Everybody appreciates them. And I've been dying to just continue to interview powerful women as well. That was one of the things that I was asked to do, is interview powerful women. And you were definitely at the top of my list. I want you to know that, okay? So, but I know.
I'm trying to save it now.
Yeah. For this time, but I know a lot of people don't know who you are. I know people know Mina Moves, and they see you on Instagram traveling the world, tatted up, living your best life. But I always ask every person that I interview to start off to share a little bit about their story and who you were before the success, who you were before you had all the followers, the checks, and all the travel. Like, I want you to take me back to Corina, not Mina. I want you to take me to the Corina days. So can you give us a little bit about your story so that our followers can get to know you a little bit more and see where the foundation started for us?
Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, Mina has been Mina for a very long time, but before Mina manifested, Karina was what everybody saw and what everybody got, right? And not for nothing, Karina was fire. Like, she was the same workaholic that you see now, very early on. So I'll take you way back. I came to the States in 2000. My mom got remarried to an American. We were in Brazil. She lied to us and told us that we were coming to the States to see Disney. Little did I know we were never going back home. And I had to be dropped off at 7, 8 years old in a different continent that spoke a different language. And the people that I had closest to me was my stepdad's family, who was Cuban, which is exactly why I speak Spanish, because it was like survival mode. Like, if I didn't speak Spanish, I wasn't gonna get fed. Okay, like I needed to eat, and the only people around me were my dad's family. And then moving forward, growing up, super middle class family. My mom worked, my dad worked. My mom was going back to school. She's a psychologist, funny enough. My dad's an engineer. So like pretty basic upbringing. We tried to do a vacation once a year to kind of keep things fun, but very average Joe lifestyle. All of my friends got cars for like their senior year in high school. My parents unfortunately couldn't afford that. So I started working at a very young age. I graduated high school super early. Little do people know, I don't think I've ever said this before, and I have my transcripts so you guys can come at me and I have proof. But I graduated high school with a 4.3 GPA. I had a scholarship to go,
Hey,
yeah, I had a scholarship to go study law at the University of Pensacola. And I was going to focus on business law and international law because I wanted to take it back home to my country. Everything that I've been in the most like rawest extent has been to take it back home to my country because I mean it's a third world country, right? And I know that I can help a lot of people there that are still super oblivious to what's going on. And so I started working at a really young age. I had to go and do at least my first AA years here in Florida because I couldn't afford to be an out of state student. My parents couldn't afford it. And so I had to get a summer job. I got a summer job down the street from my house, and it was a sushi restaurant. And it was the only sushi restaurant in my area that was open till like 5 a.m. It was the spot that everybody would go
I love
out. Like they would go out, yeah, they'd get lit drunk and then they'd come back to my restaurant, and I would always love working the late night shifts. So for it's so funny, yeah, you remember her. I would work Fridays and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 a.m. So do the math. That's 20 hours, literally 19 and change. And I would do that back to back. So in 48 hours, I would work 40. So in 2 days, I had 8 hours to like shit, eat, sleep, rinse and repeat and go right back. And the funniest thing is that at this point in time, I really only had my car bill to pay. I had no reason to be working like a maniac. I didn't live on my own. I had no crazy overhead. I just was insanely obsessed with interacting with people. Like, people really were like the highlight of my day. Like, I loved serving. I loved meeting new people. I loved hearing new stories. I loved figuring out what they were in town for. Like, I would always drive myself into other people's stories. Like, I don't know what it was. It's something that was always in me, like hospitality. So fast forward, I did hospitality for like 8 years, but when I turned 21, I got a little too crazy. Okay. And Jesus was like, settle down. And I got pregnant, right? He was like, you got to get off the streets. So I got off the streets and I got pregnant at super young at 21. And me and Aaliyah's father split up very, very early. And I was kind of in it on my own. Aaliyah and I was a single mom by the time Aaliyah was like a week old, like 7 days old. And so thankfully, my mom had enough to kind of put a roof over my head. But like, if you know Hispanic moms, you know what I'm talking about. Like, that was like, that's your kid. She's crying. Go get the bottle. Go do it all yourself while working those crazy shifts because now I got a mouth to feed. And when I tell you, Nano, I have done everything under the pole to feed my child. Like, one day when she grows up and I tell her the story, she's literally going to be like, Mom, what in the world? Because I have sold foot pictures. I have gone on Feet Finder. I have taught salsa classes. I have been a Portuguese instructor. I did everything I could as a side hustle to make money for this little girl. Like, when I tell you, my mama was like, that is you figure it out. And nowadays at a certain point I was a little salty about it, but nowadays it's like I'm glad because you know how I am with Aaliyah. Like, that's my little girl. Whatever I say goes. I have her the way that I want to have her. She's been learning how to trade since she was 5 years old pretty much, and I love that. But yes, girl, the salsa classes and all, I did it all. And I really never thought that I was going to end up in this field. But at the end of my career with hospitality, I was bartending. I met Dom. I met my husband. We got married. And, you know, at a certain point in my life, and this is why I know manifesting works, I was trapped. Like, I couldn't go back to school, Nano, because I couldn't afford it, right? And if I could afford it and I was sitting down in school, who was working to make money to pay the bills? Like, I couldn't work any more hours because I was already working 90 hours. I'm like, honestly, at this point, I need a knight in shining armor. Like, I need a man to come and love me for who I am, to give me a chance to love my daughter. Like, I don't know what else to do anymore. Like, I was this close from doing the illegal stuff. I was like, I am freaking out right now. And it's not because I'm out here partying. Like, I'm literally working. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I want you to remember this because it's why my business career took off so quickly. Like yeah, I went out here and there, but most of my time, your girl was working. Like not like from day rise to sunset. And so I married Dom, and once I finally found him, I was like, oh my God, he was also building his business at the same time. He was nowhere where he's at now. We end up getting married. We have an amazing wedding. And I got my prayers answered. I became a stay-at-home mom and wife. I didn't do anything. I didn't have to pay for anything. I had no responsibilities. And I thought that that was going to be the answers to all my prayers, which is funny because people that look at me and people that look at you are like, oh my God, they have all this money. They shouldn't have any problems. I was in a position really early on where I went from having a lot of money issues to now not having money issues and still being extremely unfulfilled. Where, damn, bro, I've been praying for this. I've been praying for this like salvation. And now that I have it, why am I not happy? Like, do I not feel fulfilled? Like at one point I was like, yo, I'm happier behind the bar than I am just staying at home doing nothing, like absolutely nothing with my life. And honestly, that was a straightway trip into depression for me. I became depressed in like 8, 9 months. People from the outside world were looking at me and they were like, you are ungrateful. How could you? You literally got propped up on a silver platter. And inside of me, I'm like, no, 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 you don't understand. Like, I have no purpose. Like, I'm 25 years old. I give nothing to this world. I have nothing to my name. I don't do anything. Like, that's a huge red flag. And I understand that 99.9% of women in Miami would love that lifestyle. And I wish it could be me, but it's not. It never made me happy. And so I started getting into like just thinking about what it is that I could do. And that's when I found moreDon't, which is also when I found you. I went to go do my lashes. My friend was like, hey, you'd be great at this. I was at a point where I was doing absolutely nothing with my life. I definitely thought it was a scam. I still signed up anyways because I was doing nothing better. And,
And it
you know,
was COVID too.
yeah, it was in the middle of COVID, correct. It was 2020. That's when kind of everything took off. And I was like, if not this, then what? Like, you know, if it works out, great. If it doesn't work out, whatever. Like, I'll try something else. I'm not doing anything with my time now. And the first few weeks, what changed the game was you. We got introduced to your calls. And then I hear you talking about the law of desire, manifestation, consciousness, subconscious. I'm like, okay, I'm currently getting scammed right now, or my family really didn't know about any of this stuff, and if they didn't know, then they couldn't teach me. And I was like, is this stuff really real? And then I went through the whole paradox of like, is Tony Robbins a scam? Is personal development a scam? Is this even real? Which is why when people come to me with like, oh, what you do is this or what you do is that, I'm like, yo, I thought the same thing. And I'm such a Leo. My ego is through the roof sometimes that I like to know what I do and why people say what it is that they say. And I started going back to it. I'm like, bro, personal development started in 1903. And the reason why a lot of people don't use it to become successful is because A, it seems foolish. B, it seems too simple to do. And what's simple to do is simple not to do. And it's like, who really is crazy enough to believe in this stuff? But the crazy ones are the ones that make it happen.
Facts.
Like the crazy ones are the ones that got a plane in the sky. The crazy ones are the ones that build cruises that can take thousands of people across an ocean. Like those are the crazy ones that believed in this stuff, and look at the things they did. So shit, I want to be a crazy one too. You know what I'm saying? Like, sign me up to the crazy list. So moving forward, you started talking about all this stuff. I'm pretty sure, hey, I got dogs too. I'm pretty sure that I got scammed by somebody selling a Bob Proctor program, but I was on cloud nine about all the information that you were talking about. I'm like, if this really works and I just spent the last 10 years of my life working, I'm gonna strangle myself. Like, I was so mad. And I used that anger to like drive me into like, okay, you need to know everything about this. And if you're gonna say it doesn't work, we're gonna really try this, because you've tried everything else 100% of the way and it has never worked out for you. So let's do this 100% of the way. You have nothing to lose. Bruno, I'm gonna have to hold him too. Come here, buddy. And so I went ahead and I made about maybe $5,000 or $6,000 my first 3 months in network marketing, just because I had that type of influence. People used to follow me because they knew that I was a hard worker and they knew that I was about the people. And that's where my success really started. But where my success propelled was 3 months into it, when I made all that money. Mind you, I've never seen double digits in my bank account before. The first time I saw double digits in my bank account, I swiped my card for like $7,000 for that Bob Proctor mentorship, which wasn't even Bob Proctor, it was somebody else, and I got scammed for it, I'm sure. But that information legit changed my life. Like, learning about conscious, subconscious, create, disintegrate, laws of attraction, laws of the universe, playing by the rules of the game. Like, once I started to understand that we have the ability to intentionally create what we want, and if we're not intentionally creating, then we're intentionally digressing. Like, once I started to realize all this stuff, I'm like, bro, I've been working hard my whole life, never working smart. I've been trying to go for the end result, never what builds up to the end result. Like, it was just I was mind blown. And from that moment on, I remember I was so invested that it wasn't enough. And then Bob Proctor came out with his personal mentorship, which was like 10K. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm going on E. And I swiped that card again. And mind you, I'm swiping this card for multiple thousands. I've never even had multiple thousands to spend. You know, when you buy something and you're immediately like, well, I hope this works. I hope this works. I hope this works. I hope this works. And this is like, we're purchasing something you can't touch, right? Personal development is something you
We're crazy paying 10 racks for mentorship.
Bruh, no, in total, it was the 7 in the beginning and then the 10 after. So 17K. It was pretty much everything that I had made right back into myself. Like, I did not profit for the first like 8 months of this business, because every dollar I made, I put it right back. I'm like, because think about it. I'm like, I don't need this money. I'm living a good life. I don't need to pay anything. Let me take all this money and put it back to the reason why I got this money in the first place. Like, let me keep adding fuel to the fire. And if that's money, then so be it. And I kept adding and adding and learning and learning and learning. And then boom, bro, things have never been the same. That was like the longest story I've ever told. But that's literally like the whole, and I know these are going to be saved, which is cool. But like, that's the whole story that people don't know. And like, in the beginning, when I started creating a name for myself, and people were like, oh my God, like, you're so smart. How do you know all this stuff? Bro, I was literally learning in the morning and then teaching it at night so that I could remember it. Like, I was teaching it not because I thought I knew it. I was teaching it so that I could know it, so that I could remember it. Because once you teach it, it's like ingrained. So that was my cycle for like the first year, where I would learn and teach, learn and teach, learn and teach, learn and teach. And people were like going ballistic over it. And I'm like, if y'all only knew, your girl just learned this. And I was just I had so much belief in that the information worked, because it had already worked for me, that I went balls to the walls and changed my life and never looked back, honestly.
Wow, sis. That was, by the way, I appreciate you sharing that story, because I know there's so many people on this call that they follow you. They've been looking at your stories for years, but they probably never even heard the story of how, you know, Mina became who you are today, and they know that you invested all this money and that you used to work at a sushi spot for, you know, 40 hours.
And it's like, I didn't even give you guys the full, because then we'll be here for forever. But I remember even being pregnant, I would work at Express, the clothing store, from like 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and then cross the street and work at the sushi place from like 6 p.m. to 12 p.m., like 8 months pregnant. Like, it's not been easy, but we could get it done.
That's so powerful, sis, and I appreciate you sharing that with all of us. Guys, can we type a thank you in the chat box for Mina, because her sharing her story is always powerful, and I want to get into, and I want to pick your brain now, because like you said, you had a 4.0 plus in school, so you already been smart.
I'm
So I want
a
to pick
student.
your brain and get to know you a little bit more. I want you to talk about, I know that we've been learning about the power of manifesting, and you get what you want, but you also get what you don't want as well. Can you touch on that a little bit, about the importance of understanding that whatever you focus on, will grow. So you are able to get what you don't. I mean, sorry, with success and manifestation, it's a double-edged
Right.
sword. Because you're able to get what you want, but you can also get what you don't want. And I feel like people don't truly understand the concept of it, and that sometimes the realities that they live, they manifested with the words that they spoke, the things that they talked about and thought about. So talk about the importance of getting what you want, but also getting what you don't want based off of your focus.
Right. So, I mean, we can even break this down on a biological level. So, like, way back in the day, we used to think that everything was more matter than it was energy. Like, think of Newton, right? Think of the picture of the atom. It was more matter than it was energy. Now we understand that it's a little bit of matter and a whole lot, meaning everything that you do, every way that you move, everything that you say is energy, some way, somehow, whether it's intentional energy or not intentional. Think about it. Like, everything that exists is compressed atoms. Everything is made of compressed items. And depending on how they vibrate, they either make plastics, solids, or they make gas, or they make liquids. And the reason why I'm sharing this, because you guys are probably like, hey, I didn't sign up for a chemistry class, is that you need to understand that you are having an energetic experience. This life is an energetic experience. We live on a playing field, right? Think about a football field. We live on a playing field. And the higher you go up in energy, the more you can attract the things that are in that level. Okay, so the things that you say and how you do and what you think and how you act is either going to raise you up on that playing field or bring you down. And it's not that you need XYZ to get XYZ. It's just what's available on that level. Like, think about it, if you're playing like Mario Kart. Every time you go to a different level, you can go to the little storage unit and you have different guns, you have different cars, you have different things at your availability, right? So every time you raise your level of frequency and you get higher in that playing field, you have access to different things in your toolbox, like more money, like better solutions, like better people, like better experiences, better things, places, and situations that are going to cause you to get higher and higher and higher, right? It's it's not that there is a hand over you trying to ruin your life. It's just the luck of the draw. I say this multiple times. It's not about having all the best cards. Too many people in this world are wanting to have the best like cards. You guys want to have the perfect environment. You guys want to have a great mentor. You guys want to have a little bit of money in the bank. You guys want to have all the situations playing in your favor. And at the end of the day, you need to focus on being the best player and not having the best cards. Okay? Because the chances of you not having the best cards is high. Okay, no, not everybody has Beyonce and Jay-Z as a parent. Like, we're not all just born with these options. So what? You're just not going to play the game because not everything is going your way? No. Learn how to become the best player with the cards that you have. That's the name of the game, right? So how can I focus my intention with the cards that I have? How can I grab the ducks that I have and cross the road? And the other ducks that I need will be on the other side. Literally, will be
Sheesh.
on the other side. So it's like, whether you like it or not, you're not standing still. Everything that you do is either taking you closer or it's taking you further. There is no in between. This is one of the areas in life that there is no gray. Your body is just a huge lump of energy. You, whether you want to believe it or not, are the biggest, largest transmission machine there's ever been in the world. Like, you are a transmitter. Like, think of a big signal transmitter. That's what you are. Everything that you do, how you act and what you say is going to emit a certain frequency. And that frequency, whoever's on that same frequency as you, is going to hear your call. Those are like, find your people. Talk about certain information that attracts people and places and things into your life. Because whether or not you like it, whether you, if you feel down, like if you don't feel the best, it's okay. But you need to wake up and make sure that you do what you need to do to get on that right frequency. Because you're going to be transmitting all day long, whether you like it or not. Meaning, the more you think about shitty things, the more shitty things happen to you. Whether you're intentionally thinking about it, you're transmitting a machine. Like, you're a machine. You're a machine. You are the largest, most powerful, energetically charged thing on this world. There is nothing that you cannot attract. Like, you're the biggest magnet this world has ever seen. And you have to believe it. So the only time that you can be careful with your words is when you believe it.
And not to cut you off, sis, because I want to stay on this topic really quick. You've experienced yourself at, vibrations where you were depressed, stressed, sad, you were speaking the bad words and all of that stuff, and you were attracting more and more and more of that as well, right? But you've also been on the vibrations where everything is going in your favor, you're attracting success, you're doing your morning routine every day. Talk about the importance of having a routine that can get you in that vibration every single day, because the thing is that people think that it's just a one-time thing that they have to do. It's a decision that has to be made every single day to put yourself on that vibration, and then not only put yourself at that vibration, but also protect it. So can you talk about that a little bit, please?
Absolutely. So, I mean, essentially, we're all human beings. We're not robots, right? There are going to be days where you sleep a little bit better. There's going to be days where you don't have that many problems. And then there's going to be days where all hell breaks loose. Every single day, you're not going to wake up at 100%. I don't care if you're Tony Robbins. I don't care if you're Mel Robbins. I don't care if you're Bob Proctor. You're going to wake up and your energy field, like your energy, think about a bar, is not at 100%. Okay, your energy is going to vary. Sometimes it's going to be at 20%. Sometimes you're going to wake up and you're going to feel like you're at 35. Some days you're going to wake up and you're going to feel like you're at a 2, where you don't want to talk to anybody. Some days you wake up and for whatever reason you feel great and you're like at an 80, at an 85. This happens every single day, whether you like it or not. You're never going to be able to, even if you have a consistent routine, life comes at you and life lives. So every single day, your output of energy is going to be different. Okay. It is going to be different. So when you wake up, you're going to have to expect that you're not always going to feel the same. That's why motivation is so played out. Like, I already expect demotivation. I don't want to be motivated. There's a difference. I expect demotivation, so I have things in place that allow me to stay consistent, whether or not I feel the way that I'm feeling or not, right? So when you understand that, you need to take into consideration that every single day it's up to you to get your life bar at 100%, because you're going to go face life. I mean, it's up to you. There's people that wake up every single day, don't do this, and then they don't understand why at 3 or 4 o'clock they're exhausted. They don't understand why at 8 p.m. they have no energy. They don't understand why they woke up and they're irritated. Do that multiple times. Wake up at 30, 40, 50% and go deal with life. Go deal with problems. Go deal with family issues. Go deal with solving things. Go deal with everything that comes at you. Any human being would be frustrated. Any human being will gravitate towards a lower frequency. That's just natural. We're doing this to prevent going into that state. You don't just prevent something for one day. It's a way of life. You can't just prevent, like, not smoking today because you don't want to get cancer. Oh, I'm just not going to smoke today. No, it's a way of life. It's the whole life. You know what I'm saying? And if every day I know that I'm waking up at different levels of frequency and I have life waiting for me with all of life's problems that I got to deal with, I need to make sure I'm good. I need to make sure that I'm full, that I feel content. right? And that's where that morning routine comes in. It's not to do anything other than put you at 100% because you're going to go out and take hits. You're going to go out and you're going to deal with stuff. You're going to go out and it might be your day to get into a car accident. But I'd rather face all that stuff at 100%, and then at the end of the day I'm at 40 or 30, and then I can wind down, rather than going and facing life over and over again for years at a time at 20%, 30%, 25%, 45%. And then you wonder why people are naturally grumpy, why people don't say good morning in the elevator, why people look at you like you got a third eye when you say hello. They're tired, they're exhausted, they don't want to do this no more. They're like, damn, another day where I get my butt beat, like another day where life is just gonna come and ish on me. And then once they get into that cycle, that's where the rat race starts, because once you get into that negative spiral of thinking, good luck trying to get out. That's where people lose their whole lives in that spiral. That's that matrix spiral. You know, so why is it so important to, that's why it's so important to do the everyday routine to prevent going in that spiral, because everybody in this chat knows what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Like, have you ever been on a spiral where it's been weeks and weeks and weeks and you can't get it together?
I've been there multiple times.
Hey, everybody has. Isn't it way harder to get out of that spiral that takes days and weeks of getting your ish together than just to take 5-10 minutes every single day and do a morning routine?
That's so
Like,
true.
isn't it just easier to take 10 rather than have to deal with the weeks and weeks of that spiral?
Now, stay with me right here, because you changed my life I think it was like a year ago, when you taught the training of pain over, what is it? No, pleasure, peace over pleasure, right? And I feel like everybody needs to hear a short version of peace over pleasure, because it goes hand in hand with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, waking up, doing your morning routine is peace, but waking up and staying in bed is pleasure. And I feel like people don't understand the difference between the two. So can you give us and talk about a little bit about peace over pleasure? Because,
Right.
you know, that was when I heard you do that, like, for
That
me,
was at that women's event too.
yes, yo, dude, when you did that training, like, I was like, sheesh. And I needed to hear that so much at that specific time that it just shifted me, and it caused something different inside of me to, like, change my focus and put myself in a better position. So I know that there's people on this call that need to hear that message 100%. So can you talk about peace over pleasure, please?
So, I mean, I'm the type of person, and I think all we like things simple and we like things easy. So when we're trying to change our lives, like, the easier the decision, the better. So I started to ask myself, if I want a peaceful life the way that I say I do, I want peace in finance, I want peace and stability, I want peace in my relationships, I want peace within myself, I want harmony, I want alignment, I want peace. If that's the output, if that's the end result, then my habits need to also align with that, right? So then it led me into defining, okay, what is peace and also what is pleasure, right? Because peace is the exact opposite of pleasure. I didn't know that until I Googled it. Pleasure is everything that feels good in the moment, right? But it necessarily isn't good for you in the long run. And peace doesn't necessarily feel good in the moment, but it is good for you long term. So whenever I'm having decisions where I don't know exactly what to do, like today in the morning, I didn't know whether or not, or even just right now, I'm like, damn, after I do Nano's calls, should I just get dressed and go work, or should I hit the gym? The pleasureful thing to do would be to just get dressed because I'm already home, get in my car and go work. But the peaceful thing would be to go to the gym, get that sweat, get that burn in, come back home, know that I exhausted that energy and I did what I said I was going to do and I kept my word, and that gives me confidence, right? That's a peaceful decision, even though it doesn't feel good in the moment. Another example, I don't care if you're a morning person, especially you're a morning person, so I'm talking to one. I don't care how much of a morning person you are, you don't like waking up in the morning.
It's tough.
It's tough. Okay. Staying in would be the pleasureful decision, but the peaceful decision would be to wake up and do the damn thing. Right. And people don't see it because it's so triggering. People don't see it as a peaceful decision. Right. They want to please themselves. People would rather please themselves than gift themselves peace. There's a difference. People would rather please themselves than give themselves peace. And remember, peace is everlasting. Pleasure is only for right now. And that's the difference. There's so many things like, going to that party, pleasureful, happy in the moment. Is it good for me in the long run? Probably not. Sleeping in, not doing, especially that was the one thing that got me solidified on my morning routine. I'm like, yo, I don't really want to do it right now. I gotta go, I gotta call, I gotta da 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 da. And I'm like, is that pleasureful or is that peace? Because in the long run, is not doing my morning routine gonna do me good? Is not doing my morning routine gonna give me peace? It's not. So that means it gave me immediate pleasure. And you know what that does to your mind also? It starts putting you in a position to get out of that instant gratification that we all have built into us. Because that's what it goes against. It goes against instant gratification. And unfortunately, that's built in us because we live in the 21st century, whether your parents tried to raise you like this or not. You want to call somebody, you pick up the phone. You want to go to the bathroom, you go to the bathroom. You don't got to wait for running water. Like, it's built in you. So we have to actively and intentionally go against our grain to get something different.
That's
Because
so.
we've been raised in a generation that does the exact opposite, which is why it's so scary. Because if we don't talk about this to this generation and the ones to come, it's going to be like a language that's going to die out. And we can't let this language die out, because then the world is really going to be in the matrix. It's going to be like another episode of iRobot up in this. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, and everything. I love what you said. You said people would rather please themselves than give themselves that peace. Is
Yep.
that what you said?
Exactly. People would rather please themselves in the moment than do what's going to give them everlasting peace.
Everlasting peace. That was the word I was looking for. That everlasting peace. Wow, sis, that was fire. And I like that you talked about that, because I remember when I started my entrepreneurship journey and I started my journey down, becoming an influencer, becoming this motivational speaker. And, I remember waking up at 5:55 every single morning without missing, sis. Like, and at the time, trust me, I wanted to stay in bed. I wanted to sleep until 8, 9, 10 in the morning. But that would be, like you said, the pleasurable thing to do at the time.
Right.
But waking up every day at 5:55, doing my morning routine, meditating, visualizing, writing down my goals, reading those books. Like, at the time, it didn't feel good, but the peace that it has brought me to this day is, like you said, is that everlasting peace. Like, decisions that I made 4 years ago bring me peace today.
And you want to know why? It's
So,
actually because of the eighth wonder of the world. Do you know what the eighth wonder of the world is?
no, enlighten me.
Compounding.
I'm pounding. Yeah. Yes, you're actually right. I knew.
It's compounding. So it's like, and that's why it's so intentional when you said, Mina, talk about why it's so important for you to focus on what you want, because if not, you get what you don't want. If you're not intentionally creating the life that you want, then you're settling for the life that you don't want, right? And if you do that over a long period of time, you're going to get compounding to the 10th degree on that. Imagine. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why it's so hard to get out of the rat. Like, why is it that when we get in that rat race of negative thinking, it feels like we get onto a moving train at 100 miles per hour? You're like, bro, how did I even get here so fast? I didn't even notice I was this depressed. Like, how did this even happen? Because you've been compounding little by little by little over X months, over X years.
Damn.
And the more that you compound, the quicker, the faster the express lane in depression.
You just put a lot of things into perspective for me because, like you said, the eighth wonder of the world is compounding. So every time that you settle for the life that you don't want, you're compounding that. Every day that you don't show up and you're choosing pleasure, that's compounding. And it kind of goes hand in hand with, what I always talk about, that, that's also debt in your life in a way. And I'm not talking about debt with money, like spiritual debt, like things that you said you were going to do that you didn't do. And now, sometimes, and this has happened to me, sis, and I know it has happened to you, then when you do make the decision to go and start putting the work in, you're paying years and years and years of debt. And sometimes you don't see no results for 3 months, 6 months, even sometimes a year.
Disconnect. Your spirit is waiting for you to slip up again, because at this point, that's what you've shown it to do. So your spirit's like, I'm not going to align myself. She said this today, but look at the past. Look at the receipts. So it's now you need to, that's why when people are like, oh, I'm so disconnected. I'm like, yeah, your spirit don't even believe in you no more. Like your own spirit don't even believe in what it is that you say. So now you got to work twice as hard to have you believe you. And then when you believe you, then you can go out and help other people do what it is that they need to do. But first, it's like people are like trying to get the results and trying to get the results. I'm like, you haven't even cleared your debt to you yet.
That's the one. You haven't
You need to clear your debt to you. You don't got self-confidence. Why? Because you don't keep your promises to you. You don't got confidence. Why? Because you said you were going to eat healthy and you didn't. Because you said you were going to make your bed and you didn't. Now, all of a sudden, you want to be a millionaire and you want your spirit to believe in you?
She said,
it don't work that way, my brother. It don't work that way.
It really doesn't. And yo, it's amazing that you talked about this. Guys, if you guys are getting breakthroughs on this call, put some fire emojis on the chat. Look, this, I'm taking notes. I'm a student. I already started my second page because you really dropping nuggets for us right now. And I think it's so important for us to continue this conversation in the way that it is going. I want to talk about sacrifices and the sacrifices that you've made very early on as a single mother, because I know we have mothers that deal with, being single mothers and, the sacrifices that go into it. And we talk about, and one of our favorite quotes, as you know, is if you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes that sacrifice.
Right.
So can you talk about the sacrifices that you had to make to create the life that you have today? Because I know you've made an incredible amount of sacrifices to be where you are today. And I know we still have so many more we have to make, but talk about that sacrifice in the beginning of the journey that you had to make in order for you to get to this Mina that you are now.
Bro, I think the biggest sacrifice that I can make and make is the I will never get back. There are things that I don't like to talk about because the more that I talk about it, it puts me in a position where I'm like, damn, that sucks. But it also gives me drive because, those first 2 years where I was manifesting a better life, I was off, where I was trying to find ways to make money, where God was kind of putting me through the ringer. I missed Aaliyah's first words. I was working. I missed Aaliyah's first steps. I was working. That's my first kid. I'll never get that back, even if I have another child. So it's like, oh, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you were cutting out a little bit. Okay. I don't know if it was just me, but I think you're good now.
Okay. So it's like I missed, so I missed a lot in Aaliyah's life because her first steps gone, her first words gone. So I took a decision.
You're lagging against this. You're lagging bad against this. You're completely cutting out now.
Okay. I should be better now. There we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it was cutting out bad. Like
Sorry.
we didn't hear anything you said.
So hopefully you guys can hear me now. It's been lagging the whole time. No cutting off.
Yeah, give it a sec real quick. Maybe let it adjust real quick.
It got way too good. This always happens.
Is it what? Is it the Wi-Fi? Did you? Sometimes I have to take it off the Wi-Fi because the Wi-Fi just messes up. They hear us and they.
I'm on the water. If I take off Wi-Fi, you won't find me.
All right.
The
You're good. I think you're good now.
Okay, cool. So just to like reiterate, I think time is the one thing that we will sacrifice that will always mean the most. Like I missed Aaliyah's first words, I miss Aaliyah's first steps, I miss Aaliyah's first pretty much everything, her first 2 years, because I was working. I had to make a decision, like, is she gonna have food to eat? Like that's more important than anything else, than me being there. So I had to sacrifice the time with my actual kid, time that I'll never get back. You know, she's my only one, she's my first. But I understood that there was a greater good. Like I don't want to compare it to like Jesus and the sacrifice, but a sacrifice is like that. It's something that feels really bad in the moment, but you know it's going to bring again everlasting peace. So it's like I think that we all have to get away from this idea that good things for you are supposed to feel good. Like not everything that is good for you feels good in the moment. Like I don't know who told you that creating the life of your dreams or waking up early or doing this routine or talking to people or having good intent, like I don't know who told you that this stuff was easy. We just told you it was things you needed to do. Nobody said it was easy. Life, nobody ever said life was easy. Nobody ever said success was easy. So why you expected it to be is beyond me, right? So I knew that there was going to be a huge price to pay, and the bigger the price, the bigger the reward. The bigger the price, the bigger the reward. Now I'm at a stage where I probably am going to grind my face off for the next 3 years until she turns 10. And then I'll probably like slow down. But I'll end it with this for all my moms in here that have, you know, 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 2-year-olds, toddlers, babies, 15-year-olds, like whatever the case is. Once your child starts growing up in this very say fake, but this world that has a lot of flashiness, your kid's gonna want a car. Your kid's gonna want that brand new phone. Your kid's gonna want the best sneakers. Your kid's gonna want to travel. Your kid's gonna want to do things that they see online, that they see their friends doing. And have you ever seen a 15-year-old mad versus a 5-year-old mad? A 5-year-old can get over it in 2 seconds. A 5-year-old will get over you not being there for a little while in their lives. They'll get over it. Try to tell a 15-year-old you can't afford something. See how long they stay mad at you. And I'm not saying it's about having the money. I'm saying it's about having the options. Like, what if your kid is super school and they need to go to an Ivy League? Do you have the money for that? Like, people love to come at me like, oh, network marketing, blah, blah, blah. No, like, what if your kid actually wanted to go to school? Like, what if your kid wanted to go to Yale or Harvard? Do you have the money for that? Because I had the money to go to school, and my parents told me, hey, wipe your booty with the scholarship, because since it only pays half, we can't afford the rest. Go become a bartender. Okay.
Sheesh.
That's what I think about when it comes to like being a parent and traveling. I just went 3 weeks on the road and I didn't get to see Aaliyah. You think that doesn't break my heart? Of course it does. But you know what? You're going to understand in the future. And when she grows up and she has to call me and tell me, hey, mom, I'm going to be on the road for 6 months. I'm probably not going to see you for Thanksgiving. I'm going to say, absolutely. I love you. I understand. Go chase your dream. You got one life to live. Go. And that's what I feel like we're missing in our community, in our culture, is like, yes, I understand mom guilt is a real thing, but you know what? Take this right here and make the peaceful decision. Remember, peaceful decisions, not seeing your kid, being out of town, might not feel good in the moment, but in the long run, when you can retire at 45, when you can take your daughter on trips, when you can go do whatever it is that you want to do, she's gonna understand. You're gonna say, "Thank God I did it," honestly, or you're gonna not do it, be with her now, give her all the time in the world, not work on you, not work on your business, not grow yourself, because you're letting that child, like that guilt, like literally eat you alive. And then for the rest of your life, your kid is complaining as to why and how you don't have this and you can't go there and you can't have that.
Wow.
So it's worth the sacrifice for me. You know, it sucks. It does suck as a mom. A mom is, you only have one. Like you're that person. But there's certain sacrifices that a woman makes, and there's sacrifices that men make. We as human beings need to get into this culture of sacrifice. You're not going to get anything you want without giving something up.
That's absolutely right. They say you got to give up to go up, and that's the reason. And I'm glad that you touched on it, because I know a lot of our followers, our mothers, and just parents in general, you know, that have kids. And I know there's a lot of people that sometimes use their kids as excuses instead of, you know, as fuel to move forward. And I'm glad that you touched on that. I want to kind of change directions here. You know, when I first met you, Mina, you already had like you had a pretty good brand. I think you had like 20, 30,000 followers. But today you have over 200,000 followers. You know, you're growing. You're a huge influencer. You're getting thousands of likes, hundreds of comments on your pictures, and you're very unapologetic with who you are. Like you embrace who you are, and you take that firsthand. And I want you to talk about building your brand, like building your personal brand, because you're a social media educator for our company. You know, you're an absolute savage. You've helped so many people build their brand. You're helping me build my brand. You're helping people from all around the company, all around the world. Like, we're known worldwide, which is crazy. We were talking about it earlier this morning. Can you talk about, you know, people starting to build their brand and why it's so important, especially in this day and age, in the digital era, why it's so important to start building your personal brand, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So just like we were talking about this earlier, bigger than, well, okay, so what is a brand? A brand is nothing more than a promise that you make to yourself, how you're going to show up and how other people are going to perceive you. And what I've noticed a lot in this day and age is that so many people have potential, but because of the way that other people see them, or how other people, excuse me, how other people think about them, how other people speak about them, they never become successful. Influence is so important. Like whenever I go to these events, or I do key speaks, or I do seminars, things like this, I don't ever talk about my business, because we need to open up the mind of the human being first. A brand is being able to take somebody somewhere they haven't been before, which is just like leadership. When you have a brand, you're standing for what it is that you believe in. So once you understand what a brand is, the second step is understanding what your values are. Like, what do you believe in? What do you not believe in? What do you say? What do you not say? What do you do? What do you don't do? Right? And the third step after that is, what are some of the words that you want people to say about you when you leave the room? Right? When you're not in the room, do you want people to say he's committed, he's kind, he's empathetic, he's loyal, he's assertive? These types of words, if you break them down, they all have characteristics, they all have traits. And you yourself, if that's the person that you want to be known as, the good thing about being a human being is that you can always reinvent yourself. You can always recreate yourself, and you can always become a better person, a newer person, a person that gives more than you take. A lot of you guys are watching us and you're like, well, you know, I've never done this before. I don't have a following. People don't look up to me for advice. That's fine. People don't look up to you for advice because you've never positioned yourself as somebody, as an authority, like as an authority figure in that space. The second you do, people will come to you. So it's like, build the house and they will come, right? Build yourself as a person and the followers will come. Okay. So you have to have something to give. And that's the good thing about getting these three things down. So number one, a brand is a promise that you make to yourself, meaning you're going to show up as this person to yourself and to your following. And you're going to be the same inside as you're going to be on the outside, and you're going to show up as this person starting tomorrow. After that, then you got to find out what type of person you're going to show up as. What are the 5 quality things that you want people to say about you? Find out what the characteristics of it are. Somebody that's committed. Okay, what does somebody that's committed do? They keep their word. They watch what they say. They're focused. They're intentional. What are things that you can change in your habits, in your lifestyle, to start portraying these characteristics? So as you're building your online following, you're also becoming that person. Because I want people to understand, like, when you're building your brand online, it's hard to be perfectly built online and still a work of progress inside. So instead of trying to be 2 different things, be authentic, be a work in progress on your page, and be a work in progress on a day-to-day basis. Nobody says that a brand needs to be perfect. They say that a brand needs to be real and authentic. That's why I've gotten to where I've gotten to, because I'm constantly telling you guys not things that I do, but things that I've learned. I'm not telling you guys to do something. I'm telling you, hey, this is what I've learned. This is what's helped me. This is the struggle that I made it out of so that I could get here. Because one of my quality things that I wanted people to say about me when I left the room was that I was solution driven. So if I was solution driven, if I'm a solution driven person, what are some of the problems in today's day and age that I can help people with? Right? And then I started to become more knowledgeable about the topics that are going on in today's day and age. What are moms going through? What are college kids going through? What are parents going through? What are CEOs going through? How can I help this person? How can I help that person? How can I help the average person who doesn't know how to talk to their friends on this page? How do I? So these are all questions that people are Googling and people want the answer to. I wanted to be a solution driven person. I wanted people to think, if I needed help doing this, who can I call? Right? I wanted to be that person. So I started to emulate those characteristics. That's what you want to do on social media. You want to make sure that you focus on being a brand of growth and not a brand of perfection. When you become a brand of perfection, you lose trust, you lose relatability. And the biggest thing that I want to tell you guys here about that is what me and Anna were talking about today. People need to understand something called the halo effect. The halo effect means that if I am a person of credibility in one sector, I will have leverage over other sectors. What does that mean? If you guys come up to me and you believe in my mentorship and you believe in the things that I'm talking about and the things that I'm teaching, if I ever recommend an energy drink, if I ever recommend a notebook, I am automatically credible in the notebook and in the energy drink, because there is a halo effect that happens when somebody gains somebody else's trust.
That's fire.
That is so key. Like, when you build trust within your consumer, and that's why it's so important to build a brand nowadays, because I don't give a dang what you're doing. The only way you're ever going to build something is if people trust you and people relate to you and people have seen you grow and people have seen you develop. Because after that happens, and it might take a year, might take 2 years. I've been doing this for 4 years now. After that happens, I can put my name on anything. I can make a binder and I can sell it. I can make a pen and I can sell it. I can partner up with a protein drink and I can sell it. Why? Because me as a human being, I have made myself credible in the online space. After credibility comes trust. After trust comes partnerships. Okay, that's the sequel to this. It's just too many of you guys are focused on being perfect to grow your page. You're removing the one thing that connects us all. The one thing that connects us all is growth. The one thing that connects us all is pain. The one thing that connects us all is trauma. So show how you've grown through that. Show the lessons that you have learned either on this call or on previous mentorships that have shown you how to grow through that. You guys need to understand that everyday people aren't talking about this. A lot of people, I talked to the lady that just did my nails. I'm like, so have you ever heard of Tony Robbins? And she said no. The girl that was doing I think my hair in this other place, I asked her, who did I ask her about? I asked her about Alex Morton. I was like, do you know who Alex Morton is? And she's like, no, I have no idea who that is. That means that this whole personal development space is still very new. There's a lot
Small.
that don't know about it. They don't. Think about the people that have used this to become successful. It's a handful, and it's been out since 1903. 1903. Whatever the reason is, maybe people think it's stupid, maybe people think it's dumb, maybe people think it's too easy, maybe people don't understand the biological level of how the universe works. Whatever. People are not talking about it. They're not using it. If there were, our middle class would be a lot bigger and the rich would be greater than 1%. So it's like the little things that you guys are hearing, repeat them, because that's how I got successful, by repeating and teaching the things that were taught to me. And then next thing you know, they started happening. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay, who's going to be the next crazy to dance with me in the crowd while no music is playing to everybody else? Because that's what it is.
Jesus.
So, a lot of people that don't know about this stuff. Start teaching, start growing, be authentic, show up, show the struggle, and do it consistently. And you can't tell me that you don't know what to talk about. If you go on YouTube or Google and you just type up how to, it fills out the sentence for you. How to cook a cake, how to get at abs, how to build a routine, how to da-da-da-da. And start creating content for all of those things. Make yourself a figure of authority in this field.
Amen. 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 Amen, sis. That was fire right there. I mean, even I needed to hear some of that stuff because the halo effect is so dope. I've lived the halo effect. Like, I know what you're saying now. Like, now I understand what it is. Like, it really does follow you everywhere. When you said, like, first comes credibility, then trust, then partnership. And I think that that's important. And I got like 2 more questions for you so we can wrap it up. You know, the other day I was sitting in a meeting, and I was talking to somebody that's a part of the 1%. And they were talking about how we have 24 months to make as much money as we can, because if not, we're going to be like left behind. You know, it's going to be either you're struggling or you're making it happen. You know, there's going to be no more in between. It's either you're going to be poor or you're going to be rich. And they said we had 24 months, and he's talking to me, he's looking at me dead in my eyes, and he's telling me, Nano, like, I love you, brother. I know you're already a part of the 1%, but I need you to make your people aware that they only have 24 months to figure this whole thing out. Like, if they are still stuck at them jobs and they're still stuck in their own mindsets, like, they need to get out of that and find a way to put themselves in position and take advantage of the shift that is happening right now. And that, I say that to ask you this question. Talk about what's happening in the world right now and why it's so important for them to get educated in the digital space in general.
Right.
Right. And just for them to join us, because this is not a recruiting call or anything like that, because I know we're experts in the digital space and what we do, but why it's so important for them to get, you know, educated in this field at this specific time, especially over the next 24 months. Can you talk about that? Because I feel like a lot of our followers need to know this. And it's our job and it's our purpose to make people more aware and wake people up during this time.
Absolutely. So, I mean, there's 2 things that I want to talk about today, and it's an exercise that you guys can do with me as you're watching. Now, the reason why it's so important to learn about digital skill sets, 2 reasons. Number 1, robots taking over the world, as silly as it sounds. Your mainstream job, receptionist, data entries, collectors, things of this nature, servers, they're even making robot bartenders that do drinks and pour out the perfect ounces so that there is no spillage in alcohol, and they make total revenue. All of that is going to be a huge thing in the next 5 to 10 years, right? Another reason, like, those jobs are going to completely get wiped out in the next few years. You're not going to have people have those jobs anymore. Those basic jobs, they're going to have robots that do them, robots that don't talk, robots that aren't late, robots that don't get sick, right? A lot of companies are investing into things like this. And number two is very simple. As human beings, we have two types of skill sets. We have physical skill sets and mental skill sets. There's problems we can solve with thought, and there's problems we can solve with our hands, correct? We've been taught that the problem that we solve with money is that we trade in our physical skill set for a paycheck. That's what we've been taught. Now, if you're somebody that's on this call that doesn't want to work until the day that they die, that means that we need to increase our mental skill sets. So right now, I want you to think about it. If you're on this call and the answer to my first question is no, I don't want to work till the day I die. The next step is you understanding what skill sets you have. So I want you to make a T chart, right? And I want you to write down a list of all the skill sets that you have that are physical that you can do to make money. You're going to put driving a car, cutting hair, cleaning, babysitting, reading, I don't know, working, personal training, whatever it is that you can do. Those are your physical skill sets. Now I want you to write down on the other side, what are your mental skill sets? When I did this T chart, I had zero. I didn't know how, I didn't have investments. I didn't have e-commerce. I didn't have trading. I didn't have everything that required me to get paid. I needed to be there. I needed to have my hands. My hands needed to be working, right? So if every time you get a check, you're using your hands, then you're naturally going to be working till the day that you die. Is that not correct? It's the only way. Whether you learn this now in a state of peace and serenity, or you learn this 2 years from now because you don't know how you're going to make ends meet, you're going to need to learn this. If not, consider yourself somebody that's going to be working until the day they die. It's common sense. Like, I'm not trying to make something bigger than what it is. If these bad boys need to be working every time you make money, then you will be working till the day you die, because it costs to live as a human being and you need money. So unless you try to now take some of the time that you have and add to that mental skill sets, what are things that you can do to make sure that your money is working for you while you're not working, whether that's through e-commerce, and I don't care where you learn this stuff, just learn it. Like, I'm not really even here trying to tell you guys anything other than learn it, because it is going to put you in a position where you could take the hit, because there's a huge hit that's coming in the next 2 years. People are acting like this is all fun and games. People are tweeting about Trump. People are, mad about egg prices. If you guys can barely afford ends meet now, what do you think is going to happen in the next 5 years? Has inflation increased or decreased in the last 50 years? It's increased. So what do you think is going to happen the next 50 years? Some of you guys are 20 and 30 years old on this call. You'll be here for the next depression. Y'all will be here.
We may be living in it almost, to be real.
Y'all will be here. Like, y'all are acting like this is fun and games until there's no more jobs. And then you're having to learn out of necessity. It's just, and you know what's sad? That human beings tend to put ourselves in this position. We only move when we're uncomfortable. We're trying to get y'all, we're trying to get y'all to move before things get real uncomfortable. Now look, the dollar, the respect of the dollar, I don't think it's ever going to be completely obsolete. But now you have countries like my own country, Brazil, linking up with Russia, linking up with China, linking up with Ukraine to ish on the US dollar. Like, that's scary. We're living in times that they're going to write books about. You think that your stable 9 to 5, you think that your managing position is enough? I'm not saying having a job is bad. I'm saying only having a job is bad. It is scary out here in these streets. It's scary. So just put yourself in a position to learn this information. I don't care who you learn it from. I don't care how you get yourself started, but it's time that you start giving this the attention it deserves. Because, I mean, I don't know how else to say it. In the next 5 to 10 years, I highly doubt that there's going to be a middle class.
Yeah, no, that's already gone.
It's going to be obsolete. So you have to learn the skill sets, because at this point, guys, we have no other way around it. No other way.
There really isn't, and this is something that I've been being told, that, and this is why they said 24 months, because it's a window of opportunity to put yourself in position. Right. Because the thing is that we're taught to, we wait until it's happening to then take action. Right. And we're always late to the party, and we always get the short end of the stick.
Right.
The ones that before it all happens, the ones that put themselves in position, individuals like you, me, our teams, our organizations, the people that we're working with, like we're putting our families, we're putting our generations to come in position. And we only get this opportunity once in our lifetime. Like, this window of opportunity is only going to happen once in our lifetime. Like, this digital shift that's happening, there's only one digital shift that happens.
Bro, we were all around. Some of the people on this call were old enough to purchase a Bitcoin back when it came out, and the only reason why they didn't purchase it, the only reason why I didn't purchase one is because I didn't know better.
Me either.
Like, all about accessibility to information. Like, to think that I would be a multi-millionaire right now if I just listened to somebody talk about Bitcoin 10 years ago.
I mean, yo, you were telling me yesterday, you were like, bro, you were like, yo, I'm up on Bitcoin. You've been buying, you told me, you were like, bro, there were times I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna go get my nails done. I'm gonna put this $100-$200 into Bitcoin. Yeah. I'm gonna put it here. And you just been buying every single week, even if it's $1.
2 years. Every single week, every single week, every single week, every single week. I don't care if it was up. I don't care if it was down, because I have already trained my mind to think about peace, and decisions that are peaceful right now, okay, might not feel that good, but I know it's going to set me up in the future. Pleasureful will be taking that money and going to do what I wanted to do with it. But I was like, nah, I'm going to put it right here because I know where the future's at. I know where the future's at. I know where the future is at. I see the bigger picture. Too many people are focusing on the first chapter. They're still like, it doesn't work. Blah, blah, blah. Like, if y'all are still running that same story in 2023, y'all are literally shooting yourselves in the foot. And not only are you shooting yourself in the foot, you're shooting your future generations in the foot. Like, it's getting real serious right now.
It's one of the most serious times in U.S. history, not just in U.S. history. Like, this is something, it's going to be talked about. People are going to write books about the moments that we're living in, and people are not seeing it because we're just going about day by day. You know, everything is happening, the things on the news, and what they don't understand is that that's all a distraction from what's really happening behind closed doors that we can't see. But we have access to the 1%, and the people that are there, and the people that are the movers and the shakers of everything. We know what's going on. We jump on these calls. We jump on these IG lives. We're on our stories sharing this information with people, and they're just taking it with a grain of salt, water under the bridge. But that's going to cost. Yep. You know, that's long term, and it can cost you a life of poverty, a life of being lost, and an opportunity that you could have had to get rich. And, you know, something my mentor told me is, he said, Nano, in a human life, before someone is 40, they only get 2 to 3 opportunities to get rich. I know that this one right here is an opportunity for all of us to not only get rich, but become wealthy. But we got to be willing to make the sacrifices that are required. And Mina, I want you to tell them, like, I know me and you are starting to do this thing every time now at 9 o'clock. Can you let them know what we're going to be doing at 9 p.m. every single day about waking people up, making them aware of, just the information that is out there. We're going to be educating people on what it is that you can do with crypto, trading, e-commerce, because I think people need to know more about that as well, because I know a lot of people want to learn. I'm sure that there's people on this call right now that want to learn, right? Type learn in the chat box if you want to learn more about these digital skill sets, because I want you guys to hear what Mina has to say really quick.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I think that we know that we just work really well together. You have an amazing masculine energy, and then I come in with the feminine energy. And plus, we've been in this space for so long that I feel like if anybody has those really big questions on investing, on day trading, on stocks and futures and NFTs, on crypto, on e-commerce, on anything that has to do with digital currency in this space and an income, they should hear it from the absolute source. Now, just because we're busy doesn't mean that we can't do this. So what we've decided to do for us and for everybody else that's watching is every single night from Monday through Saturday, we will be doing a 9 p.m. call, kind of introducing you guys to the platform that took us from A to Z. It took us from where we were to where we're at. Sorry about that. With multiple sources of income. And you guys can plug in and you can see whether or not this is something that you see yourself doing. You can make a decision. You have a few days to decide whether or not you think this is for you. Nobody is twisting your hand. Nobody is trying to force you into anything. We're just trying to put you guys into position. We understand that this information is not going to be for everybody. But if this is something that's been coming about, it's in your face, it's in your thought process, you've been wanting to learn, now is the time to link arms with us every single night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. And I'm also going to give you guys a little cherry on top for you guys that are watching that are in Miami, Florida. If you're in the Doral area, if you're in the North Miami Beach area, Miami area, me and Neno are actually going to do live mindset and personal development events. These are going to be absolutely, free for you guys to come. We're only going to be allowing 50 to 60 people every single time that we do this. So you guys will be having this conversation that you see right here in person. We want to get back in the field. We want to just give you guys value. This is not an event. This is not a sales opportunity. This is not a close. This is just a place where we can gather every single week. We can get together and we can pour value into you guys in a face-to-face type of space, in a belly-to-belly kind of bonding. And I'm really excited for those to take off. So you guys have two things to focus on. Number one, call every single night, 9 p.m. for the next, but we're just going to say for the end of the year, till the end of the year, till next year. Until and despite, we're going to be in the trenches. So every single night, Monday through Saturday, you can expect me and Neno to drop value on this call about all of the different ways that you can make money. And then every week, stay tuned for the flyer. We're going to be dropping the location, the space, the Eventbrite where you can reserve your spot. And we'll see you guys there just for massive amounts of value that we want to go ahead and pour back out to you guys. So that's going to be it from my end. Neno, thank you so much for having me on. We went for like an hour and a half to 2 hours straight. You can't leave us talking because we will be here for hours.
We'll be here for another hour. Look, guys, if you guys want to participate in this call, like, it's amazing because me and Mina, we were together yesterday and we were just saying like, yo, we need to provide more value to our people, to our families, and just to everybody in general. We were like, yo, let's just start running a call at 9 p.m., giving value to people on what's happening in this world and how they can be a part of it. So if you guys want to be a part of our call tonight, just DM us 9 p.m. call. 9 p.m. call. So it'll be at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Pacific, okay? They're going to be on Zoom, and they're going to be ran by me and Mina, the best 1-2 punch, the best 1-2 duo that you guys have seen, and I'm just super excited for that. But Mina, thank you so much for this 1% talks. I literally just realized, I looked up, I'm like, yo, it's already 11:40. It's about to be noon. We started this at 10:15, so
I know.
We just been talking, but I'm going to save this live, sis. Thank you so much again. God bless you. I'm so proud of you. I can't wait to continue to impact people. And I know we have so much more that we're going to be doing in the next coming years. And we're literally doing life together. So I'm very, very excited for that. And I'm looking forward to it. Any last words for the family, for the followers listening in right now?
Oh man, what is one last thing that I can give you guys? Whatever you do, do it with excellence.
Facts.
Whatever you do, just do it with excellence. You get what you give, and if you want an excellent life, then give and provide excellence. So I love you guys, and I'll see you at the live events and on these 9 p.m. calls. Let's get jiggy with it, bruh. It's time to work.
Get
Oh.
it. So, my sis, have a blessed day, and I'll see you on the 9 p.m. call tonight. Guys, one more time, DM either me or Mina, 9 p.m. call. Doesn't matter if you're Eastern, Western, Pacific, Central, whatever it is, just DM us, 9 p.m. call. We'll know what we're talking about. We'll send you over the link, and we will see you guys there. I love you guys so much. I appreciate you guys so much, and I will see you guys tonight. Thank you guys so much for hopping on 1% Talks. It was a legendary one. I will be reposting it and making sure that, you know, we stay up to date. One thing I do ask of you guys, yo, what was one thing that you learned on this call today? Post it on your story and tag me and Mina on it, all right? And we will be selecting winners, and we will be selecting individuals that we want to work with and that we want to talk to and be able to answer a couple of questions with. So take what was one big nugget that you got from today, tag me and Mina on it, post it on your story, and we will appreciate it to the moon and back, all right, fam? So I love you guys. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you guys tonight on the 9 p.m.